When I was about 10 years old, I used to stand on this beautiful bridge called the Chain Bridge in Budapest, Hungary, and look out on the city, thinking what it would feel like to be a Martian, what it would feel like to see this with a Martian's eyes. And I was grown on a diet of science fiction. For me, it was pretty natural to think what alien sensations, alien emotions, and alien frames of mind could project. My father was an actor and a director, and my mother a painter. They very strongly pushed me towards a more scientifically oriented development. Successfully so. They got divorced, and when I was 12, I was given the opportunity to decide, did I want to stay with my father in Hungary, or when I would start high school to move to Italy with my mother. And for me, Italy was so exotic, I absolutely decided that I wanted to move. And indeed, I became a Martian in a totally new country, in a totally new culture, in a totally new language, where the only word, or almost, that I could speak is pizza. And that is how I started high school, and I needed to really very rapidly develop a capability of finding what was my evolutionary path in order to survive in this new hostile environment of an Italian high school. It wasn't that bad, really, but still exploring what was the complex interaction between me and my new friends, and how the society was really different from what I was accustomed to when growing up, gave me a certain level of resilience. It gave me the opportunity to understand that building on the differences and understanding and being able to leverage the differences was superior than not a certain old kind of thinking that put you in cages of uniformity, reliable, boring sameness. For me, technology has always been a way of moving and jumping really towards a future that we are accustomed at seeing around us. As from our personal computers, we have seen mobile phones and smartphones becoming more and more powerful, and now these are getting into a new structure, even with sensors in everything, objects that used to be disconnected, that is designing what is called the Internet of Things coming around us. Society has always dreamed about how technology can empower our next steps. And today we have achieved incredible successes leveraging technology. We built what Nobel Prize-winning chemist Paul Crutzen calls the Anthropocene, which is, as most of us realize, an unsustainable development where we have to find new ways to balance our desires of achievement and development with what the environment, the planet we are using and sharing with everything else around us allows. And our powers of introspection, our understanding of what we can do need to be refined and further developed. Both our empathy towards other human beings and our tolerance for different kinds of behaviors in the society overall. I like to experiment, and in my experimentation, I try to tap what are the borders and the frontiers of tolerated behavior. Some time ago, I got an implant. In my left hand, there is a microchip that allows me to do certain things. This is a fairly sophisticated computer that can open doors, can unlock certain functions, for example, of a computer that I can access. I can pay for a subway. Or I can hold my Bitcoin wallet's secret cryptographic key that is not to be found anywhere else but in my implant. And it is also a wonderful icebreaker and conversation opener for people who want to come and touch it. You can feel it under my skin. After my talk, you will be welcome to try. Or, as many other people do, recoil in horror and disgust. And that is the point. Where are the frontiers and the borders and the barriers of these behaviors that we can allow or we don't want others to even cross? However, I believe that it is an unstoppable change that we are seeing around us. We have to really accept and get accustomed to seeing people who, like me, are experimenting with these changes. And we can surround ourselves with the tool sets of understanding how people can be empowered and emancipated through learning, really experimenting what the new possibilities are. And even if this looks fairly recent, and certainly there are people who believe that the trend is accelerating, our technologies give possibilities in the society that are really new, especially in America. There is a fairly long history of tolerance for behaviors increasing. In the 20s, it was prohibited to consume alcohol. You would all be criminals today. Until 1966, it was prohibited for a black and a white person to get married. Doctors were forced up until the 70s to subject patients to treatments that could be hurtful, that could cause harm by today's standards. And of course, people could love each other without that love being recognized or even with that love being criminalized. And society today, in 100% of the US states, the majority of the people believe that the cognitive freedoms for maintaining or altering one's cognitive state should also be recognized. So this is a trajectory of society progressively building different definitions of what it means to participate with dignity and with freedom in a shared space of understanding, empathy, and tolerance. And what it means to build a society that recognizes the right for others to do so. And of course, the question, the most important series of questions that we have to be able to ask ourselves is, what are the limits? And what is the speed and the shape of this dynamic? We can start having conversations of what are future behaviors that are criminalized today, that we can start to understand that whether it's going to take a year or 10 years will be acceptable. And so if we do, if we understand that this change has been historically happening and it is going to keep happening in the future, we can be proactive about it. Rather than maintaining the status quo, rather than clinging to the existing rules of behavior, we can analyze what are the new things that are going to come and how to embrace and participate in them. One of the most important things in the horizon is the fact that we are delegating more and more of the decisions around both our personal lives and the way society is governed to autonomous machines. Whether it is the car that drives itself, or whether it is your home heating system that decides when to turn off or turn on the heat, it doesn't matter. Sooner or later, there will be life and death decisions that these machines will have to take in a fraction of a second. And we must face the need and the challenge of creating a science of morality even before we can achieve an engineering of morality. Because the alternative is to let the machines make those decisions without being able to rely on the rules and the schemes that we empathize with. It is definitely true that whether we are talking about humans or we are talking about machines, there will be mistakes. And whether those are involuntary mistakes or voluntary mistakes, well, that is how law is extended. And that is how criminal, penal, civil decisions are made around what society needs to be doing, those behaviors to be admitted or behaviors to be prohibited further on. And also, since these developments in a society as ours today are not restricted to a single country, actually they are born because we live in a globally connected world that communicates very, very rapidly, we have to recognize that our moral systems are not the same the world over. And we have to understand that if we were to desire a single moral system to govern the entire planet, what we would be talking about is a single global dictatorship. Instead, what we have to strive for is inclusive, tolerant differences, building a globally communicating planet. When we sing together with my daughter a famous song called "The Scientist," we purposefully distort its refrain. We say, we have to go back to the stars. And when we sing that song together, what we mean is that we have to look and establish a civilization of humans and of machines to achieve beautiful dreams of not only building great civilizations here on Earth, but also to go beyond, to go to Mars, where we will have, if not our children, our grandchildren, thrive. And we will go even beyond. What is the balance of humans and machines working together in civilizations that not only encompass Earth, Mars, but go beyond to frontiers that we are barely exploring today, is immensely exciting to me. And when I talk to audiences like you, I end my talks asking you to consider the shape of those societies, of those civilizations that want to be tolerant, that want to be empathic, that want to understand the diversity, and to go home and think, what are the things that you want that society to be able to do together with you and together with all of us. Thank you very much.